welcome back, dear listeners. On airwaves today, we have a remarkable guest. His name is Dilawar Syed, and for those who don't know him, Mr. Syed has supported many businesses, and his main passion revolves around entrepreneurship. So, Mr. Syed, without further ado, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career?
Absolutely, Ibrahim. Thank you for having me, and great to be talking to your listeners. So I'm visiting from Washington, D.C. I'm currently Special Representative for Commercial and Business Affairs at the State Department. And my job is to make sure that U.S. companies, U.S. Innovators and entrepreneurs are partnering with countries. And we are excited to be in Iraq this week, bringing a delegation of more than 60 U.S. companies to Iraq to do more business with the country. Now, as you mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a technology entrepreneur turned diplomat. So I've spent about 25 plus years in Silicon Valley working in various companies. Most recently, I was running a company in the healthcare and AI, artificial intelligence space. Prior to that, I had a software company, Freshworks, that we took public. It's customer service and Salesforce management software. I was at Yahoo. I don't know how many of your users still use Yahoo, but I spent some time there as well.
So, Mr. Syed, you are interested in entrepreneurship, okay? But now you also work in politics as well, okay? So these two different fields are kind of like, different, because some people believe that those who are interested in business, only care about like business and money, and they don't like really care about like this human aspect that most people have. So how do you manage to combine these two fields?
So, Ibrahim, my view is that the problems that societies are facing, the challenges that societies are facing have to be solved by everybody. If you're a business person, obviously you care about running a business, but you also should care about solving societal problems. And I chose to do public service. I'm an entrepreneur. I chose to join the President's administration. I'm honored by his asking me to join his team. But I'm bringing all of that business experience, my operating experience, my entrepreneurial journey, my global perspective to my work. I'm in Iraq. I have done businesses in this region, so I'm familiar with it. So when we talk about policy, it's helpful to have had those experiences. And I would encourage many entrepreneurs to pursue passions outside their daily work. Because look, we are very lucky to be endowed with skills. We have the smarts, we have the capacity, we care about solving problems. And we need to just make sure that we are not just doing everyday job, but we're also doing something more with our lives. So I'm a big believer that you must have outside passions, and you should give your skills and your training to the broader public good. And public service is something that I think we all should consider pursuing. In my case, I did it full time, but you can also do it, as a side project. Maybe do a volunteer time in your neighborhood and community about an issue that you care about. Could be education, could be environment, could be healthcare, if you will.
That's fantastic. So you are basically saying that if you keep your knowledge to yourself, it becomes useless.
Well, what I'm saying is that the challenges that we face as societies are so huge right now that it needs everyone's participation. Just look what happened in the last few years. We had a global pandemic, COVID-19. We have not seen a global health crisis like this in almost 100 years as a world. It affected almost every human being on this planet. Climate change, it's affecting us. Now we are seeing the change here. Look at the rivers in Iraq, what they're faced with, right? This kind of challenge, the humanity hasn't seen in generations. War. Russia attacked Ukraine. We haven't seen hostilities in Europe since the end of World War II. These are generational challenges, and it has had an effect on energy insecurity, food insecurity. So our response to those challenges should come from every sector, right? So even if you're a business person and your listener is an entrepreneur, and yes, they are very skilled in their job, we need the help to solve other challenges too. So maybe volunteer your time. In my case, I took those skills that I have from business to government, because we believe the government can be an agent of change, but it needs ideas from business. It needs experiences from business, to tackle some of these global challenges.
Okay, that's fantastic. And speaking of government, is your role limited to businesses inside the United States?
Well, my primary job is to make sure that the U.S. companies can succeed, and when they expand overseas, an opportunity to grow, it helps us for job creation in the United States. That's my primary job. However, we also know that we want our partners and we want our allies to also do well. So we promote entrepreneurship. We promote growth of business in other countries so that they also can progress. And that's why I'm here this week. We have brought in a delegation of more than 60 United States companies who will be looking to open businesses in Iraq. If Iraq succeeds because of U.S. companies, there's more job growth. We also succeed.
Correct.
So it is driving shared prosperity, right? But the main instrument for that, Ibrahim, is U.S. entrepreneurs and U.S. companies. Our view is that the United States entrepreneurs are a force for good. You look at the way how our technologies have changed, the way you order your food, the way you communicate around the world, and so we need to deploy that innovation more so here. So yes, primary job I have is really to help U.S. companies, but if I help U.S. companies, we are also helping Iraq because they will expand here and they will create opportunities for Iraqis.
I see. And speaking of technology, you have worked in different industries like healthcare and the technology and so on. So which industries have you find the most interesting?
Wow, that's a tough question. Well, I would say, I've worked in various parts of technology. Last company was AI, artificial intelligence. I'm sure everybody has looked at ChatGPT in one way or the other. By the way, this interview is real. It's not ChatGPT.
Controversial, I would say.
And I was in software. I've always spent in software and also social media technology as well. I wouldn't say that it is any technology that is most interesting. I think technology, we have to understand, is a means to an end. We're using technology to solve problems. In my most recent companies, we were using it to solve healthcare issues, to make healthcare more effective using data. So it's really it's the use cases that we are using is what we need to focus on. Technology is just a means to an end. And I've had the privilege of working on use cases from healthcare to customer service, if you will, to communication in the social media realm. So what I would encourage your listeners is to think about, is there a problem that you care about that needs to be solved? And you use technology to solve that problem.
Okay, that's wonderful. And I have watched your YouTube videos.
Okay.
And your journey has been challenging, right? So how did you, get all of this strength to carry on, to keep moving on?
So look, as human beings, all of us have a share of challenges. I think we also have incredible capacity that God has given us, and I think if you are passionate for a cause, and you believe in what you're doing, whether as a business person or a social cause you care about, you can find strength in that. That sense of mission is where I have drawn my strength. That if I'm solving a business problem and I have a mission as a company, I'll need to stay put and make sure that I am not shying away from the challenges. Again, I genuinely believe each one of us, no matter who we are, have enough potential and resolve to take on big challenges. So no matter what happens, don't ever give up. Pursue the path. There are people who can help you, that you can raise your hand and say, I need assistance. But it is very important that as human beings, we stay true to our mission and our convictions. And that's what I, every single day, try to focus on and just make sure that we are pursuing whatever our pursuit is.
And do you think that entrepreneurship has helped you with that? Like having this mindset, this, the mindset of like never giving up.
Yeah. So, entrepreneurs by definition are optimists. Yes, you have to be an optimist, right? Because you're solving something, you haven't created a product yet, but you believe that the world will use a product. So having been in business and as an entrepreneur, I am optimistic or I have become optimistic, if you will, that look, it will work out. So clearly that helps. I think also you have to have a strong grit, which you were alluding to. So I bring that grit to my, to all of my life's work. And the other thing is also, let me also say this: the challenges that we are working on right now, whether what's happening in Ukraine or solving for climate issues, these are such big challenges that when you look at what we need to solve, then you want to put your work on there, and it focuses away from yourself more on what you're solving for. So I don't get daunted by my own challenges, whether as an entrepreneur or in any other respect, but it is more the motivation to help address this monumental issues that we are facing in our times that should give each one of us that energy, to do our part.
And going to your education, so you have an MBA and a bachelor's degree in economics and computer science. Can we know why you chose these, two fields or two subjects to study?
So I think in undergraduate, I did computer science and economics. I was very interested in economics and political science, but I felt it was important to get exposure to technology. And that has helped me throughout. And I will encourage all of your listeners to, also consider exposure or developing skills in technology. Even if you don't become a programmer, you should know what it means to be programming, right? So when you build a startup, you have an appreciation for what technology is. So that exposure has helped me throughout. It's helping me even now in my job as a diplomat, because we're looking at big challenges like AI and so forth. I went to business school at Wharton, MBA to develop management skills. I think that was to, if you would get more savvy in terms of running businesses, but it was all, the whole motivation was to develop my skills more broadly. But I would say at the end of the day, you also learn every single day as an entrepreneur. You learn from schools, of course. I'm a believer in that. But I think a lot of learning also happens when you're building a business. I learn from each other. I learn from my team. Today I'm learning from my diplomatic colleagues. You should never, ever, ever stop learning, because, again, things that we are addressing today, some of these things were not taught in schools 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
That's correct. And can you share with us advice to those who are pursuing a career which is similar to yours?
Advice in what respect?
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So look, I mean, if you're passionate about solving a certain problem, consider pursuing it. I just met before our interview a number of women entrepreneurs from Baghdad, and I was frankly pretty inspired by their stories. Many of them were professionals working in a certain field, and they felt, okay, you know what, I can actually go and solve that problem. So I met a woman, she used to be in the stock exchange, and she left her job and she also started portfolio, investment portfolio of her own. First time anybody's going to have an investment firm privately run by a woman entrepreneur, which is terrific, because she felt there was a need there, right, to be able to give people, folks who are wealthy, a means to invest in some portfolio. So if you see, think about a need that you see that you think you can help address. And solve a problem. So that's what I would encourage folks to not just, obviously it's good to find a job and work for someone, but if you see need that you can help solve, consider addressing it. Look, starting a business is hard, but it also can be very, very fulfilling. Any company that you've heard of today, whether it's Google or Facebook or Instagram or ChatGPT, these founders, when they felt there was a problem to be solved, and they started it, it took a lot of effort. There were a lot of down days. There was a lot of struggle. But look what these products have done in the world. I'm of a huge belief that Iraqis are talented. This is the cradle of civilization. This is the country that has so much resilience. It has had its share of challenges and tragedy for decades. But look, it's standing, right? People who are listening on this call, they have all the capacity in the world to do amazing things. But you have to believe in yourself and say, here's a challenge that I can help address, and go see if you can do something about it. Yes, you will have to figure out how to raise money, and you'll have to figure out mentorship. But that's some challenges that all entrepreneurs have to go through. There are resources in this country, right? There is wealth in this country. But what we need is folks who have the vision and the commitment to go address some of these challenges. And so I will highly encourage those who are listening to consider solving a small problem. I know in your case you were talking that you are teaching English and you are
That's
online,
correct.
so you're also an entrepreneur, right?
Thank you so much. And one last thing.
Sure.
So there are those who want to be successful at the things that they love or the things that they are good at, and there are those who just want to be successful, no matter what they are going to invest their money in or their time in. So which group of people are you in, or do you belong to?
I don't know if I can pick any of the group. What I will say is this: my view is that do something that has a greater good, not just for yourself. Start a business that can create more jobs for the people, that can help develop more talent in other people. It's important to have that what we call force multiplier. So if you do something, it creates more opportunity for other people. Of course, you have to drive for your own success, your family success, your community success, but you also have to drive for broader success. The challenges that we have in this region, in this country, will not be solved until people think about how can whatever I work every single day can help more people along the way, even as it helps myself. But we have to go beyond ourselves. It is very, very important. Otherwise, we will not be able to tackle. Government alone cannot solve all challenges.
True.
People have to take ownership, and you have to care for things for beyond yourself. I go back to what we said earlier. Again, there's so much capacity here. There's so much talent and energy here, but we need to be thinking about everybody around us. So my message to everyone will be: pursue a path of entrepreneurship. Pursue something that creates more opportunity for other people, that can spread the good and spread the gains to everybody around you. The good news is, if they do well, you will do even better, right? But your singular success sometimes cannot be sustainable if the society is not being lifted along the way.
That's just wonderful. Mr. Syed, thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful talking to you, and we really hope to talk to you very, very soon.
Thank you for having me, Ibrahim.